understanding with many of the most pivotal technologies of contemporary life: the car, the phone, and the computer, and correspondingly, the critique of the automotive industry, the telecommunications industry, and Silicon Valley. And these issues intersect with fundamental questions about how we should conceive of the human mind and how we should understand technology. The topic of driver distraction requires us to address the nature of the mind itself. That is, in order to approach the practical problem of smartphone driving impairment, we need to grapple with what we understand our minds to be, what it means to have a thought, and what it means to experience something. For example, should we understand our minds, in mainly mechanistic terms, as something perhaps akin to a computer? Also, when talking about issues such as distraction, how important is it to talk about brain activity? While, of course, our thinking occurs in our brains, we must ask what is gained and lost by invoking our brains as causal actors in these discussions. I pose these questions literally, not rhetorically. Sometimes in everyday language, we refer directly to our brains when we talk about our thinking, such as in the case of brain fog, or when we say we have something on the brain to refer to how we are thinking obsessively about it. Other times, we do not. For example, we ask one another, "What's on your mind?" rather than, "What's happening in your brain right now?" These fundamental questions about how we understand our minds bear upon the specific issue of how we should understand and communicate the nature of distraction. This topic also intersects with our basic understanding of the nature of technology. In order to address the problem of smartphone driving impairment, we need to struggle to understand what technology is, what it means to use a device, and what it means to be an experienced user of a device. The fact is that the specific problem of smartphone-induced driving impairment involves bringing together three of the most normal and omnipresent forms of technology usage: driving, computing, and calling and texting. These technologies have obviously improved many people's lives in many ways, and, as others have pointed out, each of these technologies is at least partially responsible for all kinds of problems in the world. There are, of course, problems of equity in how these devices are manufactured. For example, who made your smartphone? There are, of course, problems for the environment that result from our dependence on fossil fuels and big data storage. Critics allege that many social problems are the result of these technologies, too many to list here, from online bullying to cell phone or internet addiction to social isolation to all of the alleged negative effects of internet culture, car culture, and smartphone culture. However, independent of what we think about any of those issues, the problem of smartphone driving impairment is somehow its own phenomenon. It's one that occurs at the intersection of our experiences with these technologies. It's in some way a side effect of using these separate technologies at the same time. It's a malfunction in our experience that occurs as these otherwise pervasive devices are used together in a particular way. My suggestion here is that to really understand this problem, we need to find ways to articulate the basic elements of our relationships with these devices. A key feature of the worldwide debate over smartphone driver distraction is that people have a wide variety of impressions about even the most basic aspects of what is happening. The scientists present surprising findings on the extent and nature of smartphone driving impairment. Drivers themselves are sometimes resistant to these findings, perceiving themselves to be safe behind the wheel while using the phone, despite evidence to the contrary. The automotive and telecommunications industries plow forward with the development of new in-cab communication and computing devices, and lawmakers remain barely able to keep up with it all, pulled in various directions by industry lobbyists, safety advocates, and partisanship. This means that an important part of the solution to this urgent public